Now, what was I talking about in terms of the Constitution? I'm going to read to you if I can find it here. Federalist number 6, Alexander Hamilton, indicated that the Senate should have a special and strong reason for the denial of confirmation. He continued, to what purpose then require the cooperation of the Senate? I answer that the necessity of their concurrence would have a powerful, though in general a silent operation. It would be an excellent check upon a spirit of favoritism in the President, would tend generally to prevent the appointment of unfit characters from family connection, from personal attachment, and from a view to popularity. 73 of the 126 Supreme Court nominations that I've been informed by my staff, and I hope they're right, were done without roll call votes. Something's changing when it comes to the advise and consent clause. All of us abhor judicial activism because it's a threat to society in general when an unelected judge takes on a role outside of their sphere. The question I have for the body, are we living in an age of legislative activism, where the words haven't changed in the last 200 years, but certainly the voting patterns are? The confirmation hearings themselves certainly have changed. What does it mean? Senator Obama was part of the problem, not the solution. One of the problems he has is when he had the role of advice and consent, he sort of turned it upside down and talked about qualifications and temperament being about 70% or 80% and what's in your heart being the last. What's in Elena Kagan's heart is that of a good person who adopts a philosophy I disagree with. You know, the Washington Times wrote an editorial about 3 good reasons I could vote no. I could give you 100 reasons why I could vote no if I based on my vote on how she disagrees with me. No one spent more time trying to beat President Obama than I did, except maybe Senator McCain. I missed my own election. I voted absentee. But I understood we lost. President Obama won. And I've got a lot of opportunity to disagree with him. But the Constitution, in my view, puts a requirement on me as a senator to not replace my judgment for his, not to think of the 100 reasons I would pick somebody differently or pick a fight with Ms. Kagan. It puts upon me a standard that stood the test of time. Is the person qualified? Is it a person of good character? Are they someone that understands the difference between being a judge and a politician? And quite frankly, I think she's passed all those tests. To say that the job of being a senator is a rubber stamp is not true. Mr. Lieu, I will not vote for. He has not passed that test. Mr. Haynes, me and Senator Specter gave Mr. Haynes a hard time back during the Bush years because I didn't think he understood the difference between politics and the law. There'll be a time when I disagree, but it should be the exception, not the rule. So in conclusion, we are making history, all of us, because by your very time here, you're getting to do something unique and special. What are the consequences of our time in the Senate? What are the precedents we are setting? Are we taking the language of the Constitution that stood the test of time and basically putting a political standard in the place of a constitutional standard? That's for each senator to ask and answer themselves. Objectively speaking, things are changing, and they're unnerving to me. The court is the most fragile of the 3 branches. It has no army to defend herself. It has no political voice. It has no lobbyist. You can't be on cable TV. So you're at a disadvantage. So while it is our responsibility to challenge the court, to scrutinize the court, to put the nominee to a test, it is also our obligation to honor elections, respect elections, and to protect the court. I view my role as a United States Senator in part protecting the independence of the judiciary and making sure that hard-fought elections have meaning in terms of their results within our Constitution. And the election that I'm worried about has passed. The election that all of us are concerned about is our own coming up. How do you balance those two? How do you stay within keeping your job and honoring the fact that the people have spoken? This is what Senator Phil Gramm, said about Justice Breyer. So I'm going to vote for this nominee, not because I agree with him philosophically, but because I believe he is qualified. I believe he is credible. I believe his views, though they're different from mine, are within the mainstream of thinking of his political party. Whether I like it or not, and I do not, the American people put Bill Clinton into the White House. This nomination is a result of that. I'm not going to stand in the way of it because I differ philosophically with this nominee. I'm going to vote for her, and that doesn't mean I'm pro-choice. I'm very pro-life. I'm going to vote for her because I believe the last election had consequences, and this president chose someone who is qualified, who has the experience and knowledge to serve on this court, who's in the mainstream of liberal philosophy and understands the difference between being a liberal judge and a politician. At the end of the day, after the hearing, it was not a hard decision for me to make. I thought she did a very good job, and she will serve this nation honorably, and it would not have been someone I would have chosen. But the person who did choose, President Obama, I think chose wisely.